I thought I'd review on my thoughts on the current card sharks presented by Joe McHale. Now you're probably asking me, what do I think of this version of card sharks? Well, to tell you the truth, it's way better than the steaming pile of dog turd we were given back in 2001 that was presented by Pat Bullard. This one makes up for the awful card sharks. This is a true successor to the original three that were presented by Jim Perry, Bob Eubanks, and Bill Rafferty. First, let's talk about the new host, Joe McHale. He's actually a very good host compared to Pat Bullard. Pat Bullard was a joke. Sure, he's no Jim Perry, Bob Eubanks, or Bill Rafferty, but he's good for a modern host for the revival of Card Sharks. I have no complaints about him. He did the job very well. He read the questions just fine. He presented the game very well. So, if anything, he's a great host for the modern revival of Card Sharks. Let's talk about the new gameplay that Card Sharks has. Now, they went back to the old survey-based questions, thankfully, and not the whole high-low concept like what Pat Bullard's version has. I hated that Pat Bullard concept a lot. And a lot of people did as well. Now you got the red cards and the blue cards. In the original show, the red cards was for the champion and the blue cards was for the challenger. On the new version, there is no champion and no challenger. They're both challengers, but you probably knew that. Also, instead of the red player going first and the blue player going second, they both cut their cards and draw a random card. Whoever has the higher card gets to go first. This new concept I kind of like, although other people like major die-hard Card Sharks fans would probably say otherwise. But to be fair, I like the concept of who goes first and who goes second. So I'm not going to argue. Also, instead of having 5 cards, you basically got double 10 cards. That's very nice. They still kept the change the card if you answer correctly in the high-low questions. And the freeze bar, instead of the actual bar that moves towards where your cards are, it's an LED light, as you can tell. If you look at the picture, the freeze bar is where the 7 is for the blue player and the 9 is for the red player. That's a very nice touch. I really like the new freeze bar, or freeze light, I can tell you. So that's basically the new main gameplay. Although whoever wins this game gets to go to the money cards. They don't do best 2 out of 3. It would have been nice if they did, but since they are doing like 4 players and 2 people going against each other for 2 rounds, that's kind of why they only do 1 round for the main game. So, also, instead of 4 questions, they have 5 questions, and the 5th question is sudden death. And I think you know how sudden death works. For those who don't know, the player who wins the high-low question has to make an important decision. They can choose to play and change their card and go all the way through to win, or they can force their opponent to play out the cards and they cannot change their card. Like, for example, if the other player has a 7, that's a good chance of trying to make them lose. If they predict correctly throughout the whole way, they win the game. If they make a mistake, the other player wins by default. Now let's talk about the money cards. At least they kind of got the concept from the older versions. You start off with $10,000, which is in poker chips. You got one chip that says $5,000 and the rest of the 5,000 in 1,000 chips. So you have 6 chips, 5 1,000s and 1 5,000. And the concept is really nice. I really like this concept, something I wish the original had. What you do is you bet on what the next card you think is higher or lower. What you do is you grab the amount of chips, or chip, if you only decide to play 1 chip. You have to place it on where it says higher or lower. And if you predict correctly, the host gives you more money, or in this case, more chips. So you basically double what you earned, or triple, I don't know. You get what's added to your bank. But if you predict incorrectly, like for example, if you say it's higher and it was actually lower, you lose your bet. Now that's very important, because depending on how much you bet, you could wipe out and then that's it. You can change your card, but you can only do it once, and it may be better or worse for changing your card. And also, one more thing I need to mention. Now, this may seem like a complaint from, well, several people, but do you remember in the original Card Sharks with Jim Perry when a player ends up betting all their money or some of it, and they end up, well, for example, if you were playing with a 2 and you bet it all higher, and another 2 comes up. They did not have the push rule. Guess what? This variation doesn't have the push rule either, so even if you bet it all, it's going to end up like this moment from the original Card Sharks. Here's what I mean.
Pile works! Lower!
Come on, for $8,200, lower! Incredible. I cannot believe that. Walt, doggone it.
Yeah, they abandoned the push rule. If they were to get the same card, they lose their bet. They don't treat the no won, no loss concept. I think they should have, but what do you expect? So, in conclusion, this new revival of Card Sharks, I totally recommend it. Sure, it's missing the bonus round for a brand new card, but to be fair, the original Jim Perry version did not have that. That's probably why I prefer the Eubanks version. Yeah. But aside from that, that's all I have to say. In conclusion, do I recommend checking out this version of Card Sharks? Absolutely. I give it a 10 out of 10. It is a perfect revival of how Card Sharks 2001 should have been. So that's my video. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for my next review or video on something.